We're starting off in this problem with the equation of a line. So we've got this line right here. And something special about this line is the fact that it is tangent to this graph that they're giving us over here. So we've got this line up front, but it is tangent to this graph back here. So what we're looking at is, of course, it seems pretty obvious once you say it a few times, we're looking at a tangent line. And the first thing I think about when I'm going through a tangent line, I got two thoughts that always have to go through my head. First is I'm talking about a tangent line. So when they say line, they strictly mean y equals mx plus b. And that slope right there from my tangent line, that's equal to my derivative at that point. So you always want to make that connection that the slope of your tangent line is equal to your derivative. The second thing that I keep in mind is that whatever these two graphs are that are going on here, wherever they run into each other, wherever that tangent line just grazes through right there, that they share that point. So they share an x and a y value where they run into each other right there. And so those two ideas will get you through most things with tangent lines. So coming back to this problem, we're trying to find what this k value is here. So they're telling us that k is some constant, and we need to find the value of k. So I come back through, and now I'm looking at this, and I've got my tangent line, which is 4x plus y equals k. Well, they of course give it to me in this weird standard form here, so I can't read off my slope very easily at first. I definitely want to always make sure I get into my y equals mx plus b format before I try reading off slopes. So minus my 4x minus my 4x. So I get y equals negative 4x plus k. Now I've got the equation of my tangent line that I'm looking at here. And so once I get it into this y equals mx plus b, I now know that my slope in this situation is negative 4, which means the derivative of my equation is also equal to negative 4. Now we come back and say, well, I have that equation. So if I take the derivative of that and set it equal to my slope, now I can find out what x is for this problem. So the only thing I need to do is real quick take a derivative of this y equation. So taking the derivative of that, finding y prime, this would be a power rule. So I bring the power down, subtract 1 from the power. So I bring my 2 down, 2 times 3 gets me 6x, subtracting 1 from the power leaves me at x to the first. There's an unwritten 1 on that x that comes down. 1 times 2 gives me 2. And then x to the 0, anything to the 0 power is always 1. So we don't need to write that. And then plus 2. So the derivative of 2 is 0. So my derivative, y prime, is equal to 6x plus 2. That tells me that this derivative has to equal that slope, right? My f prime of x has to equal the slope there. So then I set these two things equal to each other and solve for that missing x value. So then I minus the 2, we get 6x equals negative 6, and then you go ahead and divide by 6, and we end up with x equals negative 1. So now I've been able to find my x value over here, and if I can find the y value that goes with it, now I can plug both of those in and solve for that k value that I'm missing. So we use the idea that the slope of our tangent line is equal to our derivative to find the x value. And then the second piece of this is we're now going to realize that our equations share the same point. So our y equation here has to have the same point as our tangent line, our y equals negative 4x plus k. They have to share that point there. So now what I'll do is I'll plug negative 1 into that equation to find out what the y value is that goes with that, because they share that point. So then y equals, and then plugging negative 1 in for x everywhere. So negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 2. So y equals negative 1 squared is 1. 1 times 3 gets us 3. And then we end up with a negative 2 and a positive 2 canceling each other out. So now I have my point. I now know that when I plug in -1 to both of these equations that I need to get 3 out of there. And so to find that k value, that's my last part of my process. I now take my point, my x and my y, and I plug them into my 4x plus y equals k. And now I can solve for that k value because I know the other two. So plugging in, I would get 4, x is -1, plus y is going to be +3, and all of that needs to equal k. Simplifying this down, 4 times -1, that gets us -4 plus 3, and -4 plus 3 is -1. So our k value is -1 in this situation. So tangent lines, always keep in mind two things. The slope of that tangent line equals your derivative, and that your tangent line and your actual graph always share a point in common. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.